honest, I didn't realize our consensus document is a part of our database, but Amparo's presentation realized to me that our consensus document is regarded by your country to be a part of our database. That is our great pleasure. And as Masami-san said, consensus document is a set of basic information on organisms, including crop, plant, or mushroom. And this document is intended for information sharing among your countries and besides, preventing duplication of effort by your countries. Suppose you're facing the necessity to conduct some risk assessment on maize. You have to collect some information on maize. But basic information regarding maize should be same, not only in your country, but also in other countries. That's why we have created a consensus document on maize so that you can pick up some the basic information from maize. So please don't please come to our database to pick up some consensus document to help your activity of risk assessment. Thank you for giving me a chance of advertisement. Bertrand, would you like to add something, or can I move on?
Thank you, Daka. Thank you very much. I think that was clear in Amparo's presentation that you have the data itself on the one hand, giving the various approvals, and you have the consensus documents developed, yeah, and as Masami summarized after very well, they are there to help the risk assessment and they are used as such by many countries. Maybe we could give the floor back to Dean because as he's also an active participant in the OECD activities, maybe to have his views, his feedback as a country on the possible use of this type of information, being the data and or the consensus documents.
So thank you, Bertrand. I hope everybody can hear me now. The consensus documents are extremely important in South Africa. It gets used by the regulators and the risk assessors. We also have an organization known as Biosafety South Africa, which is an initiative of South Africa's Department of Science and Technology. They specifically mention and provide the links to the OECD consensus documents. And then these documents and the database is also important for our Department of Forestry, Agriculture and Fisheries. This is the competent national authority of South Africa, and obviously South Africa is a signatory to the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety. So from South Africa's side, the database is very useful, and the consensus documents are in very high demand. I have some people in South Africa waiting for the sorghum document that we're currently working on to be declassified because they need it as a matter of urgency. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Dean. So I finally would like to give the floor to the chat box, including other active participants. You may raise any question or comment on this chat box.
Taka, I think that Alexei has asked for the floor. Can we give him the floor? Alexei, please.
Yes, thank you. Because Masami asked a question whether we use other databases like OECD. And of course we do. There are two reasons. One is that you can find very useful documents on all our websites, which are not national records. And the other reason is national records are supplied by parties, but very often, but different agencies by different competent authorities. So sometimes what happens that you have information on one website, for example, FAO or OECD or biosafety clearinghouse, but not on the other. So it's a wise thing to check all databases for needed information. Sometimes parties do not supply national information on time. So, of course, we use all databases.
Thank you, Alexis, for sharing your experience. And next, I would like to give the floor to Anita. Anita, would you like to share your experience with our OECD database?
Hi. I don't have any comment. I don't have any questions, but just a comment about the consensus document and how we use it in Malaysia. It's actually a very, very useful document to have a lot of background information about the crop that we are dealing with. So far, we have dealt with corn and soya, but we are going to be dealing with other crops as well. Actually, a lot of work has been put into this consensus document to actually develop this consensus document. We really appreciate the work that has been put in, and it's really a useful document when you're doing risk assessment because not everybody has a plant background when you're doing an assessment. So it really helps those people to understand about the crop so that we can do a better risk assessment. So that was the comment that I wanted to make.
Thank you, Anita, for your comment. Actually, your comment, it's very cheers me up. It's a great motivation for me to work here. Oh, I'm energized. Thank you so much. And okay, so now let me give the floor to chat box. You may raise any question or comment on our OECD database. Oh, Masami, would you like to say something?
Yes, thank you very much, Taka-san. Actually, I have a question to everyone, and then I can be a devil's advocate to suggest something to OECD. Because OECD has this great product database that I use too, and then sometimes it would be handy to have a corresponding consensus document attached to the database. And then I'm wondering if anyone who is in the front line of risk assessment might think the same, and to be able to quickly obtain the relevant consensus document or relevant consideration document from the database. So can I ask, let's say again that if it's just easy as is, just the current situation that you go to the database, the web page to download the document, or you already have all the documents with you, so you don't really need to have the online references, Alexei?
I think online references are very useful because you can go faster in that way. I believe it's a good thing to have.
Thank you, Alexis. And is there any comment or situation in your country or request for us?
I think Beltran wants to say something.
Yes, Beltran.
Thank you, Masami. Thank you, Taka. If you could come back on the presentation of Amparo on our page 2. I don't know if it's easy to go back from your place, but she has shown how she has opened one example on unique identifier. Clicking on the unique identifier of one event, which is in her case a canola, an oilseed rape. And if you see that, yeah, it's still back, yeah. stop. Yeah, exactly there. So if you open the form, the sheet corresponding to this cannula identified with its unique identifier SCS, etc. You see that you have the transformation event, the applicant, which species we are speaking of, the scientific name, and then you have two links, and it can be for some of them, they're the place where we put the OECD consensus documents. So that's a place where it's feasible for us to link the information provided by the country to the OECD consensus documents, which are, as Alexei underlined, of international content and agreed by all authorities. And so that's the place where we could improve that maybe and be sure that each time we have this type of description, we have also there the link to the consensus doc, to the related consensus documents as relevant and when they exist for the considered species. So I think the information is already there, linked to each of the approval, but maybe not fully complete. And we have that's our homework. We have to work on that. That's one way of improvement for our database, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Beltran.
Thank you, Bertrand. This is Masami again. So, yes, indeed. I mean, I see Dean's comment that I don't know either how I missed it, but then that's a great information. And then this is, my understanding is that it's connected to each unique identifier page. So just a little suggestion that if this can be put together in the connection of this each organism, you know, the commodity wise, then it might be nice to have some overview. But then this is something that we could speak later after the webinar. So that, I mean, just to improve the user